And Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Well, we're going old school, so let me get this queued up here. All right. Let's see here. Appreciate your patience with me, people, while I get this queued up. Leisure Beast, good to see you. Ms. V, I'm glad you're here. So today is my bobbleheaded partner's birthday. So when you see him back here tomorrow, you can wish him a happy birthday, but he's going to be spending a little time with the family, which is understandable on your birthday. I would be kind of shocked if he didn't take his birthday off. 40-foot garbage man, glad that you're here. So yeah, today is Mark's birthday. Since we're going old school, Joe Birdwell, Joanna W., good to see you. Brandon, proud of you, good to see you. Since we're going old school, you know the rules. I'm not a doctor, right? I don't pretend to be one. And there are issues within rehabilitation, getting sober, that are best handled by a professional in the medical community. I don't take the place of that ever. No one can take the place of that ever. So nothing I say should be construed as medical advice. You know, you should always talk to a doctor before undertaking something, and in terms of getting sober, especially if your drug of choice was benzodiazepines or alcohol, make sure you talk to a doctor before you start heading down that road, please. Also, we're not going to talk about politics. I may touch on a couple of things because it's germane to the subject matter, but we don't want to talk about politics in the live feed, you know, and start doing the left, right, all of that stuff. There's plenty of places to do that. We're not going to do that here. We also don't do the my God is better than your God thing. It's okay to say you're praying for somebody. It's okay to talk about how you feel blessed, or you're leaning on God or things like that. But this is why you're not going to heaven. That kind of conversations stuff doesn't ever work. So we're going to avoid that. And then let's not curse in the comment section. It's not. There's no reason for it, and I'm sure that we can all hold off for a little while. Truth 76. Good to see you. And then lastly, the mean people are not very fun to be around. If you decide to be mean to people within the group, then you're probably going to get X'd. It's just that simple. And then people, tell you some weird stuff happened today. Really. As it turns out, believe it or not, I got a strike from the good people at the big red button, play button. And the reason I did, this one was going to come as a shock to you. Apparently, I was talking about drugs. Yeah. I'm guessing that they have no idea what this channel is about. I got a strike for talking about drugs. If you heard somebody say that, you might assume that I was advocating drug use, right? Leads me to believe that the good people at the big red play button have never really checked out the lifeboat, because obviously I talk about drugs a lot. It is pretty much the very basis of what we do here, but I'm not advocating drug use, but it is what it is. I think in the future, I'm probably going to have to come up with code words, right, for all of the different substances, because if I utter, one of the words, then the algorithm picks it up and thinks I'm some kind of a channel that, hey, go out and get high. You know what I mean? Like they have no concept of what we do here. And, now that there's a strike out there, I kind of got to be careful to make sure that I don't get other ones. So it's kind of important that, I keep that stuff in mind going forward. But it is what it is. Didn't get a lot of feedback from a lot of people about starting later on in the day. A couple of you reached out to me. It seems like everybody is... Hey, Charlie Murphy, good to see you. Everybody is sort of the mindset that they didn't much care. At least the people that reached out to me, that's what I got, from most everybody. Maybe they thought you were masquerading as a sobriety channel. Yeah, that's something along those lines. Honestly, I was absolutely blown away by the whole thing. And it's funny because I told a couple of people and someone said, but you were always, anti-drug. And I thought, wow, I should have pointed that out. So if you're the one that said that, I'm not picking on you, but obviously that is exactly, what I tried to point out to them. The trouble is that everything is automated. I'm not talking to a person. There's no way to talk to a person at the big red button. There really isn't. It's just all some huge automated system. And, if they hear me use the C word, right, for that stuff that's manufactured in South America, they think I'm advocating everybody going out and doing lines. Or if they hear me talk about the stuff that people are making in their bathtub using ephedrine and a bunch of other ingredients, they think I'm advocating the use of amphetamines. It's truthfully incredible, and hopefully it's something that gets ironed out, because obviously I'm not going to stop talking about drugs. I mean, it really is kind of, what we do here is something that is very much centered around drugs and alcohol. And obviously I'm not advocating the use of drugs and alcohol at all. So hopefully that gets ironed out, but we'll see what happens. People, so I've been laying a floor in the house. Everybody knows this. Ghost ship maple is what I've been putting in the house. The entire downstairs of my home is getting ghost ship gray. It's a very cool color, but it's been a lot of work, and it's causing the hands to swell up a little bit. I have a lot of arthritis from just years of beating myself up. It is something that didn't, you don't think about it when you're young. And doctors say things like, when you're 50, you're really going to be paying for this, but you don't think that 50 is going to happen, when you're young. And that's kind of a segue into what we're going to be talking about this evening. I've talked here on the channel multiple times about how the getting turned down for going to college, to try to get the master's program, sort of got me off into a slightly different direction, and it's enabled me to do something that I had wanted to do my entire life. And I am now someone that is working for the most part full time, buying and selling vintage watches. And I bring this up because it really does sort of dovetail into the things that I'm talking about today. Because obviously, when you deal in vintage, right, you deal in things that traditionally might be called antiques. For a watch to be called an antique, it has to be over 100 years old. Vintage usually starts somewhere between 30 and 50, depending on which group of people are commenting on it. But the antique stuff would be at least 100 years old. This watch, and this is usually the one when someone complains that they can hear this ticking, is a very, very loud pocket watch made by a company called Zenith. They say Zenith, but it's Zenith. Kind of a loud pocket watch. This watch was made in 1905. Right? This is a very, very old watch. According to the good people at Wikipedia, there was nobody left on this planet that was alive when this watch was manufactured. None. This watch, even though it was manufactured in 1905, it was not sold until 1909. In 1909, it was sold to a gentleman from the United States Army who was overseas. He bought this in France. Checking the provenance of a watch sometimes can be difficult, but with certain companies, at least finding out who made the first purchase is something that could be a little bit easier to do. I think you should rephrase what you said about not stopping about talking about drugs. You can say that you'll never stop talking about sobriety. Okay. No, I'm going to be talking about both. There's sobriety is definitely what we talk about here a lot. We also talk about drugs. We don't talk about partying on them, but for instance, last night's show, we were talking about the opioid crisis, and that very much talks about classes of drugs, where these drugs are coming from, how they're getting into the United States, things like that. I definitely will be talking about sobriety for the remainder of the time that I'm on this YouTube ride. Drugs will come up a lot. So I think it's a little bit of both. But if the phraseology there offended you, I apologize. So the oldest person on the planet currently was born the year that this watch was sold. This was purchased by a soldier right before he went into World War I. But he is the only person on the planet alive from when this was sold. Everybody else is gone. Literally everybody else is gone. Kind of incredible if you think about it. Really, kind of incredible if you think about it. One of the things that dealing in things from the past, we are spilling facts, and they don't like it, brother. You keep doing you, man. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. It's really kind of odd how this channel, how this platform deals with things. I think they got really overwhelmed. There's 56 million channels. To do any kind of policing on that would take a staff thousands of times bigger than the staff that they have, right? It would really take an amazing amount of people. So instead, they've designed computer systems to electronically listen to what you say. The other thing that I've got against me is that there is a large group of people out there that don't like me. So they report every video that I do, and they report the videos as if I'm talking and advocating drug use because they would like to see the lifeboat gone. And we all know, if you've been here for any length of time, you know all of that stuff. I get thousands of complaints. I'm not exaggerating. These people make it their life mission. So that comes into play, and then this thing goes back. The crazy thing, people, is that the video that got a strike, I filmed in August. I think it was filmed in August. It was filmed a really, really long time ago, and it was actually a monetized video. So at one point, the computer crawled all over that video and said, "Nothing is wrong here. It's all good," and they allowed it to play. And then they went the other direction and decided that, there's no way to figure them out. Jacob Forrester has, I believe, called them the banana eating chimps in the basement at the Big Red Button, whose job it is to handle this. And I don't know. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing for as long as we can. If they run us off this platform, then I'll go do it somewhere else. But I'm not gonna stop doing this. I feel pretty strongly about that. And people, you all know the phrase "carpe diem." Everybody is very, very familiar with this phrase, and it was really sort of it got some traction back in the 90s when the Dead Poets Society, that movie came out. There was a pretty classic scene done by Robin Williams where he takes the boys from the class out into the hallway and he shows them pictures of people from the past, and he says, "These people are calling to you from the grave," and what they're saying is, "Seize the day." And maybe it's what I do now. I spend all of my time looking at devices that keep track of time, and these are devices that are very, very old. And you sit and you start thinking about it. The wristwatch I'm wearing today was made in 1934, right? So you figure the average person working on a watch, especially because it's a skill that takes a long time. Watchmakers are not people that get hired on a Monday and start building a watch on a Tuesday. These are people that really, it's very difficult work. The people that do it usually are in their 30s and 40s, meaning the people that worked on this watch, none of them are alive either. It really starts to get you thinking about the fact that the clock's ticking, right? It really is. The clock is ticking on your life. And I've talked more than everybody probably wants to hear about my past. And, I was laying the floor, not today, it was actually a couple of days ago when I first started thinking about doing the Carpe Diem video here on YouTube. The song from Pink Floyd, Time, came on. And I was listening to it, and I actually was doing the Alexa thing. I can't stand Alexa, but I got one, and I use it basically to play music. And I was alone in the house working on the floor, and that song came on, and I would love to play that. It would have been awesome to play that, but then, of course, I will catch another strike. I would not worry about the strike. It took them months to tag drugs with no context and research and set up hopefully. I mean, I'm not terribly concerned about it. It's just that, we've been doing this for so long without one that, it became a little bit frustrating, but I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep over it one way or the other. I'm really not. You have a lot of floaters popping in and out behind you. You know what? It's happened before. Yeah. There are people that, there's been a lot of talk about the little round things, little orbs or whatever that sort of float in and out. I've seen them today as well. But I was listening to the Pink Floyd tune, and when the lyrics came on, it says, "You are young and life is long, and there is time to kill today." Right? I'm doing everything I can to make sure this doesn't sound like a song as I do it, so that I don't get a violation for that as well. And then one day you find 10 years have got behind you. No one told you when to run. You missed the starting gun. This is something that when I heard that lyric, and I've heard it 1,000 times, I'm a very, very big fan of Pink Floyd. Brothers, it's later than you think. Hasten, therefore, to do the work of God. There you go, 40-foot. But that was something that really stuck with me over the years because I really, really related to that. It's amazing just how fast time creeps up on you. And the next thing you know, 10 years have got behind you. And when I got sober, really got sober, not the attempts that I made throughout life, but the first time that I had talked to anybody about getting sober and then doing what I'm doing right here, the first time I had ever spoke to anyone about this, it was last century. I'm not being funny. I talked to my brother Johnny about it at length. I really want, and the internet component was not there, but because at that time this was not even a thing, or if it was in its infancy. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to get sober, and I wanted to make sure that the times that I had spent doing drugs, 4 months, 6 days, take a bow. Amen. You know what? I was just talking to someone about you last night. And, they were talking about how long you and V were at. And I said, you know what? I think it's either 4 or 5 months. It's amazing. Again, great indicator of just how fast time starts to move. But when I got sober and finally, truthfully, it finally took. And then I had a couple of years of sobriety under my belt, and a couple of years turned into 4. And all of a sudden, this really was a focus of my life. I really started to look back. And from the first time that I said, I need to get my life in order, I got to stop doing heroin, and I got to start trying to take the mistakes that I made and have them mean something, so that the first half of my life isn't a waste, that I did something good came from all of that negative. But, you look at, the 1990s, and the next thing you know, it was the 2010s, and now we're into the 2020s. People, if you're hearing my voice, if you're here tonight, or you're catching this on a replay or anything else, today is the day. I promise you, today is the day. Whether or not this is the day that you put down your drug, if this is not the day that you put down your drug of choice, Tommy, please get a hold of me when you can. Going through some things, brother. Listen, Derek, could you do me a favor and send me an email at captaintommyscoville@gmail.com? It doesn't have to say anything. right? Just Captain, because I know that I had your email address at one time or another, but I don't think I do now. So if you could just shoot me something that I can reply to, I'd be more than happy to reach out to you, brother. I would look forward to it. So if you could just shoot me something, right, so that it can start that dialogue thing. That would be great. And yeah, I absolutely will do that. Congratulations again to everybody fighting the good fight, but to Miss V and to Seventh Son, 4 months and 6 days is awesome. To those of you who have not made the plunge of sobriety, for those of you who have not taken that, today needs to be the day. It really does. Time is flying by, and it's not something that's pleasant, and we do everything within our power to not think about it. We really do train ourselves to not think about it. But there's nobody listening to the sound of my voice that's going to get off of this planet alive. Right? It's coming, and it's coming fast. Right? Time is flying by. This channel is. Let me see here. December, January, February. We're into our 7th month here at the Lifeboat. Right? We've been doing this for over a half a year. We're into our 7th month and rapidly coming up on month 8. It is amazing to me just how fast life moves. And one of the biggest tragedies of drug addiction is that you're not going to get time back. The time that you've spent getting high, the time that you spent in the addicted life, that's time that is gone. And that is one of the things that really that people who are new in sobriety really struggle with. You look back at all of the time that you didn't do anything with. That's rear view mirror stuff, and it doesn't do a whole lot of good. But you know something? It's a decent reminder. It really is. And for those of us that have gotten to the other side and gotten out of that process and are now sober, learn from other people, right? Smart people learn from their mistakes. Geniuses learn from other people's mistakes. And the time right now to say, this is it. I'm drawing the line in the sand. Whether or not today is the day you quit, have today be the day that you make the decision. You know how many people have come to the Lifeboat and hung out for 3, 4, 5 months before they pull the trigger? Nothing wrong with that. Seriously, there isn't. But if you're still using and you're listening, what are you waiting for? I mean, the time really has come that this is the time to pull the trigger. The brain can create its own shutdown system when coping with the past. As a recovering addict, a sort of PTSD memory loss. It's not always the case. Sometimes remembering everything is key. I agree with you, Niall. I really do. Derek N says, I'm trying so hard to be a good member of society, man. I really am, Tommy. My kids are great and motivation to keep me sober, but I feel like I have PTSD, seriously. Reach out to me and send that email, and you and I can talk. I would be blown away if you don't, honestly. I'd be really surprised if you don't have PTSD. I'm almost shocked every time I meet someone that says that they don't feel like they have it. Someone who's in recovery, the lifestyle that most of us led while in that addiction, phase of our life, you tend to see things that you can't unsee. You tend to go through things that you're not going to forget, and it creates post-traumatic stress disorder. It does. I know I have it horrendously. I really do. And to all of the people on the boat that have prayed about the nightmares, I've been blessed for weeks now without them. I really was going on a very, very bad run where virtually every night for weeks on end, I was just getting these horrific nightmares. And it was getting to the point where, I don't want to sound like a wimp or anything else, but it was honestly getting to a point where I was scared to go to sleep. Like it was, it really became a thing. But I have been blessed now with 2 or 3 weeks of really sound sleep where I'm not going through that. But even the life from the street, I saw things on the street just in the the process of being a drug user that really created some pretty horrific memories. But what happened while I was incarcerated, the things that I saw in there are going to stick with me forever. Niall, I don't think you were here yesterday, but one of the things you said the other day, I honestly tried to write this down. What you had said about, there was a really great quote about, beating your demons or facing your demons. That to be sober is to face your demons, but they don't go away. You just sort of learn to walk with them. That really, really struck me. I agree with it wholeheartedly. I know that there are people that may not. I really, really loved that, Niall, because I think that, and for me, and everything I say, people, this is my experience. My experience is not the same as everybody else's, but when facing the things from my past, I very much learned to cope with them and to live with them. But yeah, they don't go away. They really don't. I wanted to know your thoughts on taboo about addiction. That awkward situation that cannot be discussed except amongst other addicts. It's like mental illness or grief taboos. Here's the thing. I've gotten to the point in my life, Niall, when I first was in recovery, I really felt the stigma. I really felt that there were a lot of places that if I brought up anything about recovery, it was the proverbial turd in the punch bowl. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to hear it, and it really, you could see how it makes everybody in the room really uncomfortable. And maybe it has something to do with the lifeboat, and the fact that I just talk about this so much. But I am ultra proud of the fact that I'm sober. And I've gotten to the point where if my sobriety makes, or talking about my sobriety makes people uncomfortable, I don't care anymore. I really don't. But there is definitely, it is a taboo subject in a lot of circles. In a lot of circles that people just quite simply don't want to hear it. I talked to people in my network. Okay. Not sure which network that would be, Ray. And Ray, I don't know that I've ever said hello to you. Welcome to the boat. If I've welcomed you before, I apologize. I lose track, people. I really do. Hey, C.W. Terry, good to see you. Really good to see you. But one of the missions on the lifeboat from day one, and we've always talked about it, is to own your past and celebrate the victories. I got 2 emails in the last 4 or 5 days from people who said, "This is it, right? This is it. I'm quitting now." And in both cases, they're people that have been on the boat for a really long time. And if I told you the names, you would recognize them instantly. They're people that have been around, and they've been coming here and just sort of soaking up all of the energy from all of you people, and have finally gotten to the point where they said, I don't want to keep using anymore. I don't want drugs or alcohol to be a part of my life anymore. And that's awesome. Honestly, to me, that's what makes a successful channel, right? The rest of it's all blah. Right? It's all metrics. It's all analytics. I don't care about any of that crap. I really don't. I don't care how many people we got. If we're helping people to come together and aid one another in sobriety, then I feel like we got a really successful channel going. And to see these people that have been here for so long who finally said, "This is it, man. I quit. Like, I'm ready right now. This is it." Excited me in a way that I can't explain. It really is just, it's a validation of the fact that we're not wasting our time here. And I know Mark feels the same way. It's just such an exciting thing. But it got me thinking that I may not, we don't push anybody away. We never say to anybody, look, don't show up here if you're drinking, or don't show up here if you're doing drugs. That's never going to be anything that we do. Getting sober was the best thing I have done other than having my children. But the cravings do happen, and I fight the fight. I am not going back down hill, my man. You know what? I respect that. And you know what? Of course the cravings happen. Of course they do. And you know what? If we've ever led anybody here to believe that they're not gonna, then I'm failing, because they're gonna happen, people. Having the doctor on the other day was, I think, awesome. He's really just a great guy, first of all. Dr. Jetmore's a great guy. But, you know, what he said is that, you know, there are, depending on what your drug of choice is, there are receptors in the brain that are never going to be the same. There are things that, you know, neuroplasticity and all of the things that can heal. And there's a great amount of healing that can take place in the brain. There really is. There's an amazing amount of healing that can take place. But you're never going to be quite exactly what you were. You know, Niall talks about this a lot too, and far more eloquently than I do. But there's a residual effect. And, you know, for so long, for a lot of us, for so long, our go-to coping mechanism was to just get wasted. You know, get high, get stoned, get whatever it is that you were doing. That becomes such an ingrained part of you that when we find ourselves with our back against the wall emotionally, or we find that we're dealing with things that are just so difficult to deal with, I still get it. I guarantee you I still get it. People, I just tore up a floor that I put down 20 years ago, 19 years ago, and I was tearing up one board and found an empty balloon. And I'm telling you, for a split second, like I didn't think about, you know, the desire to go get high or anything else, but for a split second, it was like, you know, the realization of, man, I laid this floor down wasted. You know, when the last time I did this, I was high, and it just gets the brain turning. No matter how long I'm sober, you know, if I could be sober 100 years, if I 2 or 3 times, and I've told this story, I'll walk someplace and you smell it. You know, there's somebody that's smoking, or you know, for me, I shot a lot of heroin, but for me, smoking, it was really the thing. And I would catch that scent, and instantly, you know, the cravings, and I can't even smell vinegar. Sorry. Gotta go, guys. I got a call that my mom had to be taken to the hospital. Oh, no, Charlie. Couldn't talk or feel her legs. Oh, no, Charlie. Thoughts and prayers going out to everyone that needs them. I love you all. Charlie, we will keep your mother in our prayers. Please keep us in the loop, bud. Charlie, I'm so sorry to hear that. I really am. Everybody hear that? Thoughts and prayers for Charlie's mom. That's, you know, Charlie is one of the pillars that holds up the lifeboat, and always has been. He's just he's like the, you know, you could set your watch by Charlie Mullins. He's just one of the best people ever. So thoughts and prayers for Charlie's mom, please, everybody. That would be great. Niall said the flip side to being taboo is that you can meet another addict and be honest in 30 seconds or less. What makes others uncomfortable makes us feel like we are home finally. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last night, Niall, on the live feed last night, Verte was here, and he was giving some advice to a woman that was talking about her brother who had recently had some success getting off of alcohol and then relapsed, and she was, you know, kind of in a very, you know, she was upset, obviously, for you know, righteous reasons, right? So this was something that was really bumming her out. And Verte's advice was, look, you know, he needs addict to addict, peer to peer kind of interaction. And I can't agree more, you know, with what you just said too. It's absolutely a stone cold fact that, and it's obviously for people in recovery, it doesn't matter what you're in recovery for. You know, if you're somebody that was if you're somebody that has PTSD, talking to other people that have PTSD, or if you're you know, someone who's struggling with alcohol or drugs, talking to somebody that also has been through that, there is, you're right, an instant, and it's not just an instant understanding; it's an instant camaraderie. Even if you and the individual that you're talking to have little to nothing in common, there's that instant understanding that, you know. Try to explain to somebody the stupid things that you've done in life, right? If you try to explain addiction to someone that has never been addicted, we just sound like there's something so wrong with our wiring. You know what I mean? Like, having been to prison, you get out, you start, doing well, and you start doing things, and then you relapse. People go, knowing that you had already been, why would you ever do it again? Why would you ever do it again, knowing what's going to happen? Like, you already know what's going to happen. Why would you do that? And I could sit until the end of time and try to explain that calling and that inner voice, the one that Derek N was just talking about. Those cravings that you can't explain that to somebody unless they've been there. But if they have been there, you don't have to, right? There's nothing that needs to be explained. You say, yeah, I relapsed. They don't go, why? They go, yeah, I get it. It's that there is always, and I used to think about it almost in terms of, and I remember having this conversation with my father once when he was still alive, that I felt like it was out there hunting me. Like, that was really, in my head, that was sort of the visual imagery that I would get, when I was, and this was the white knuckle stuff. This was before I was doing any kind of medical assisted treatment, or before I was doing any kind of group therapy or anything else, where I was just, I'm not using, and, just sort of trying to hold on, to the sobriety. I felt like there was this, monster out there called addiction, and he was just stalking me. He was just waiting for that right moment where I was just having a bad day, or there was something going on in my life, or things were great, or whatever the impetus, but always just waiting for that right moment where, like, I got him. And I would be right back to wherever I was, in life before anything happened. I am learning that I have been addicted to sugar. Trying to change my diet has really shown how tempted I get when I see fruit juices and sodas. It is as bad as my alcohol addiction. Oh yeah, truth. Most people, and doctors and people in recovery or in the field of addiction will tell you that it's the biggest addiction in the world. We did a couple of shows on it. I don't know, a month or so back. Maybe it's more than that now. I don't know. But we did a couple of shows on it, and I held up a bag of sugar, right? And I did this a couple of different times. That bag of sugar is the amount of sugar that they put into a 12-ounce can of soda. And it was ridiculous. I had actually weighed out the amount to show you, and the amount of sugar that they put in there. And make no mistake, they do it for the exact same reason. You take that sugary beverage and you drink it. It said, I'm sorry, 1 second. It was wild. Thought Tommy decided to start at 6:30. If I misconveyed that, I apologize. No, we're talking about whether or not the group wants us to go at 6:30, but we're not until we get enough feedback from you all. We're not going to pull the trigger on that. I'm sorry if Stacy, I didn't so I kept you from getting here on time. I apologize. That was miscommunication on my part. We have talked about it because we've had some emails from people, and I was just asking for some feedback from everybody if that's something that you would like me to do. And if it is, we're going to go down that road. But as of right now, we've gotten the I really don't care one way or the other is sort of how everybody has responded. But to the sugar thing, it's the same process in the brain, right? What happens is that the malfunctioning reward center of the brain that would reward you for that first sip of alcohol will do the exact same thing with sugar. And you're going to be, fighting that truth. That's absolutely a fact. And Truth says, I switched from sodas to fruit juice, and fruit juice is just as bad for my diabetes and liver. Well, the thing with fruit juice is that the large percentage of them really aren't fruit juice. The amount of fruit juice that they have to put into something so that they can claim it is fruit juice is really, really bizarre. You know what I mean? If you put this much fruit juice in there, you're allowed to call it that. But they add so much added sugar to fruit juice that it's you're not any better off than you would be with a soda. That's just really the way it is. Hold on 1 second. 5 days left until I hit day 60. Wow, Brandon is 5 days, so we hit 55 days. Brandon, I remember when, forget 30, I remember when every time you got to the early 20s, you were having some trouble. I sometimes think I should not dwell so much on the psychological aspects of recovery. The demons, my alcoholism, is part of me. As soon as I knew that I knew my drinking days were over, 7 years now. I'm at the 7-year mark too. There's a book, Niall, and I know I'm gonna blank on the name of this, but it is exactly what you're talking about. It really is. It's the premise of the entire book is that many people in recovery spend so much time trying to work through issues that, quite simply, according to the author, this is just one guy's opinion, but that they don't need to work through it all. They just need to accept. They need to accept that this is a part of who they were, and it's a part of who they're always going to be. And it's I'll get the title, Niall, because I have a feeling you would love this. It's a fascinating read, and this guy's opinion is nothing short of fascinating. It really is. But yeah, we can you can overanalyze a lot of it. I think honestly, like what you said the other night, it really did strike me. The number of people that I've talked to ask their opinions about what you said, because I think that's me, really in a nutshell, is that when I got sober and faced the things from my past, I certainly didn't work through anything. I didn't. I learned to live with it, and it's like death. You know what I mean? When someone passes away, you don't get over it. Right? You just learn to move on, and you learn to live, and it's a different existence when someone that you really love and care for is no longer there. And I think that in a lot of ways, as crazy as it is, who did you love most in the world for the majority of your life? Right? Booze, right? For me, granted, it was a love-hate relationship, but for the longest time, the love of my life was, black tar heroin. And when you get sober, it's like a divorce. All of a sudden, this thing that you loved for so long, you now hate more than anything in the world, and it's it's gone. And so is a chunk of your life and a part of your life, and you don't get over that. You learn to live with it, and I am a much happier person with this crap out of my life. But I could spend way too much time. I could probably spend the rest of my life in therapy trying to figure out all of the things that were going on in my dome for 30 years to keep me going down that rabbit hole for as long as I did. I don't know that would be any good. I don't know that it would be healthy, and I don't know that I would benefit from it in any way. I think that what you said the other day was genius and eloquent. Instead of, you face those demons, you don't rid yourself of them. You just learn to walk with them. And you learn to do that in such a way that, you can be happy, through that whole process. Hi, y'all. Like being born again. I agree. Sarah, I'm glad that I saw you. I need some contact information from you for your loved one who was incarcerated. I need some contact information, and so I can reach out to that individual. So if you can shoot me an email and tell me how I can get a hold of that person, I will write a letter. Hopefully, I'd like to contact them before they leave, and then sort of go that route. That would be good. Let me know. Sorry, people. Ooh, my ex is literally a killer. Truth, that's tough. That is a. You mean like a convicted killer? That's a very difficult thing. That's PTSD waiting to happen right there. I'm sure that's a frightening concept. It really is. Excuse me. Oh, you're talking about alcohol. Thank God. Oh, no, then yeah, your ex is a killer. Excuse me, people. Yeah, one of the biggest killers out there. Make no mistake, one of the biggest killers out there. So, people, to dovetail, right, to sort of come full circle back into to what we were talking about at the beginning of this show. You realize, of course, that we have the core of the boat. We have the people that are here every single night. They're the crew. They're, the group that keeps me sane and sober. The people that show up night after night, give advice, pray, do all of those things that... I'm sorry. Alan says, hi, everyone. He wishes he could be here. Yeah, you know what? I wish Alan could be here, too. Love Alan. But, so we have this core group. And, like on a really good night, when this is over, about 120 people have stopped by. That's usually a pretty good live feed. But we're getting to the point now where there's going to be, 180 or 190 people after that are going to show up and see this. And it's not that they're not any less important. They're just not the core group that are going to be here every single night live and interacting in the comment section and doing all of that. So if you're hearing my voice and you're still in that life, you're still using on a regular basis, prayers for Lady Fi. Absolutely, Lady Fi needs prayers. She's running a high fever and is going through some stuff right now. So thank you for reminding me of that, because she absolutely needs our thoughts and our prayers, Stacy. Thank you. But if you're hearing the sound of my voice and you're still getting high or you're still drinking, the time has come. What are you waiting for? Truthfully, if you're showing up here and you're listening and you're interacting, and this is the lifeboat is somewhere where you're coming back each week or each day, then you already know you're at a place where you need to, you need to get sober. Make today the day, right? Seize it. Seize the day. Make today the day that you put it down, that you put down that poison, because that's what it is, people. Make no mistake. There's a reason that the liver is what processes out all the drugs we do, because the liver takes poisons out of the body. The time has come, people, to set down whatever that drug of choice is. I do tend to overanalyze. For me, it is important. It all ties into spirituality and the path we are on. I am proud to be as messed up. I will shut up now. Sorry for the rabbit hole, Tommy. Don't be. Honestly, I dig the rabbit holes that you take me down, my brother. I really do. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Oh, please. Thank you. I stand corrected. The Food and Drug Administration requires that the product be called juice. It must be 100% juice. I stand corrected. If it's not 100% juice, it's called juice drink. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was Seventh Son. No, thank you. I appreciate that. Anytime I get something like that wrong, I really appreciate the people that pop in there. But so yeah, to call it a juice drink, right? To use the name juice in the title for a juice drink, it requires almost nothing, right? But thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Steve is definitely a wealth of knowledge. He's come through multiple times like that since the start of the boat. Sorry, people, I really need to get. I don't know if you saw these glasses are antiques, but absolutely love these. But even with these on, I have such a difficult time reading the chats. There we go. That's a little bit better. Hold on one second. Yes, Sarah Norman says Carpe Diem. Yeah, absolutely. I had to edit when I made the thumbnail tonight. Whoever had put up the Carpe Diem the first time put a little bit of a expletive in there with it, so I kind of put the lifeboat thing over that. But every moment is another chance to change the path of your life. It is there is nothing more real than that statement. Nothing. We have reached a point in our lives where you hit that wall where your options are really to continue to destroy yourself, knowing full well that you're destroying yourself, or get sober. There's nobody listening to the sound of my voice who is in any way, shape, or form delusional about what this stuff is doing to you. You wouldn't be here. I mean, truthfully, to come to the lifeboat, to listen to the conversation, to read the live chats, and to be part of this organization, this crew, where we're all in the same boat. There's nobody listening to the sound of my voice who's not very, very aware of the fact that this is a decision of life and death. It really is. And it's getting more frightening by the day. Last night when we were talking about some of those statistics, you're putting your life on a roulette wheel. Truthfully, you are. It's today on the news, literally twice on two different news shows. They were talking about how all of the different things that they're finding laced with fentanyl. And people, it's to the point now where it doesn't matter what your drug of choice is. They're putting it in everything. They literally are putting it in everything. It's just, they're trying to move this product onto the streets because they know that once they get people doing it, they're going to continue coming back to it. It is so viciously addicting that they're adding it to substances that don't even make sense. Right? They're adding it to substances that are supposed to be taking you in the opposite direction because the euphoric buzz off of, these, it's not truthfully fentanyl. They're all analogs of fentanyl, but all of the fentanyl family of trash that are ending up on the street now, they're putting it in virtually everything. I believe this is the front line of recovery. What you do here is very important. I have said this before to both you. To both of you, it's vital. I agree, Niall. I really do. You know what? I've been wanting to tell this story. I told it to Mark, and Mark said, you know what? You got to tell this to the boat. I'm on probation. Everybody knows this. And that means that I take a lot of drug tests, and I have to go to a lot of counseling sessions. And that's just part of what it means to be on federal probation in the United States. So on Wednesday, I had to do both. I had to go take a drug test, and then I had to go up and see my counselor. And the counselor, we were talking, and she said to me, I had just done a review where my probation officer had called up there and asked, how I was doing. Am I missing any meetings? Blah, blah, blah. And she said, because we just did the review, I don't want to send anything over for at least another 90 days. Because normally if you do a review and then 2 weeks later you send a recommendation, they're just going to shoot it down. They don't want to hear from you again for 90 days. So that 90 days will be coming up in, about 2 more months. But she said, I am going to tell them that I don't want to see you anymore, which I thought was awesome. And what she basically said was, my job here is to try to make sure that people have the tools necessary to stay sober. And she said that I really have come to believe that there's no tool I can give you. She said, because of what you're doing with the lifeboat and the channel over there, all I'm doing is wasting time and money by having you here. I thought that was one of the coolest things I've ever heard in my life. Wow. Truth says, Niall, this is great therapy for me, but I believe that the lifeboat is more important to those that are lurking than we realize. There may be something to that. 5 million worth of coke seized in my town today. They're saying the convoy from Canada because it's a truck from Alberta. Oh, goodness. 5 million worth of coke. That's a decent amount of drugs right there. Yeah, Stacy says, congrats, Tommy. Good to hear it. You know what? It felt so good. It really did, because this is, obviously people, since I've been in trouble before, this isn't new. I've gone to these counseling sessions for a long time. This is not a new phenomenon for me. What's a new phenomenon is having somebody look me in the eye and saying, no, we don't think you need to be here. Like, ah, the light, the sun coming through the clouds, and it was really a beautiful thing to hear. It really was. Jesse Brown says, it's honestly scary that so many drugs are being laced like that. It's like playing Russian roulette every time you score. No matter how dark or painful the past is, it isn't worth a permanent solution. Well played, Jesse. You're absolutely right. Well played. No matter how bad things are, no matter how bad you feel like you have to escape whatever it is you're trying to escape, it is a really, really frightening thing to think of, rolling the dice, putting your life on a roulette wheel. Every single time you buy this stuff, you've got a very decent chance of getting the batch that's going to end your life. It is a wonderful testament to you, Tommy. You know what? I think it's a wonderful testament to the boat, Stacy. I mean, I'll take that. I really will. And I appreciate that. But I think that what's happening here, Tommy, that was an amazing thing to hear for you. It's like vindication for all the work you have put in. You know what? Yeah, there's something to that. There really is. There's something to that. On the previous meeting, my probation officer had said, well, how many times does he go to group down there? And she said, oh, well, I don't have him go to group here. We just do one-on-ones. And that's every 2 weeks. And my probation officer was not being combative or anything. He was just trying to get information. But he said, well, why do you not have him doing group therapy? And she's like, because he does it 7 days a week for an hour a day. She's like, he runs a group. Well, why would I have him come here and sit on the other side of the equation? She's like, it makes no sense. Which, again, was like, yes. You know what I mean? Like, this just made a lot of sense to me. And, it's one of the things that I've been beating my chest, to these people about for a really long time. It's like every time they say, well, we'd like you to go to a group therapy session. Do people have any idea what I do? Like, we do a lot of group therapy. Even if you send me down, and the crazy thing is, like, I don't know for those of you that have been on the boat a really long time, I was doing group therapy for a while, and I used to talk to you. I would go from group therapy to a 1 hour lifeboat. So it was like doing back-to-back 2 hours, of this. And for an hour, I was sitting and watching someone else run the group. And then in the next one, I was doing it. And to be really honest, the girl that ran the group was awesome. Like, she really did a great job. And I didn't begrudge it, because I don't think you can do enough of this. I really don't. It was just super inconvenient. They never had them at times that made life simple. And I've said this before, when you first get out, they do everything within their power to you've got so much to do. They almost make it impossible to succeed. They really do. There's so many different things that you're showing up for, and you're doing this group and that group. And, then you got to run down and take a drug test. And then it's just, they got you they really have got you on a very short leash. But the good news, people, is that I have not ever failed a drug test. I've not, any of the things that could keep me on this longer shouldn't happen. Hearing your ticking watch makes me think of the connection that you always talk about. We all need that one thing that we can give attention to help slow us down. You know what? I love that sound. I really do. I love that sound. For those who are not really into to watches, hold on one second. Inside this watch, let us hear you sing like an angel too, Joanne. It's inside the watch are 2 really tiny pieces of ruby, right? Synthetic at this point, but 2 small little pallet stones, and they go back and forth 28,000 times, 28,800 times every single hour. And what you're hearing is the click of those rubies on a piece of metal. That's that sound. And to me, it is one of the warmest and most beautiful sounds in the world. And you're right. It is a constant reminder that I'm not going to waste any more time of my life. I spent enough time wasted, and wasted enough time. And it's not something that's ever going to happen again. And one of the beautiful things about what I do is it is a constant reminder that they're not going to give us any more of it. The time that you got, all right, only God knows how much you got. And you're not getting any more. That's it. So let's not waste any more time, people. You know, if you're in the life, today's the day. Set it down. Set it down. Start living your best life. Is it going to be easy? Hell no. Is it going to be worth it? You betcha. You betcha. Yeah. Even the days that suck. There's something about living a real life, real emotions, being really, really happy, and then being really, really sad, and not knocking the edges off of either, right? Not making the highs lower, not making the lows higher, just living the way that we were designed. Not every day is going to be great, but every day is going to be real. And that is what it is all about. I think 28,000 clicks per hour of 2 rubies from a watch from 1905 is just absolutely astonishing. Found your passion, brother. Yeah, no, I agree with you. The fact that this thing is still running and it drops about a minute a day, right? So, you know, but by the time I'm the same age as this watch, I will have been in the ground for many, many years. So it's doing a pretty phenomenal job. Tomorrow night, people, my bobbleheaded partner will be back. Let's make sure we give him a big happy birthday, right? Because we're going to have to wait a full year before we can tell him again. So we want to make sure we give Mark a happy birthday. I'm glad that he got a night off to spend with his family. To everybody new on the crew, if you're just getting here, thanks so much for being a part of this. Derek N., if you're still listening, man, make sure you send me that email and I'll reach out to you, my brother. To all those fighting the good fight, I'm proud of you. I really am. And to all of you who haven't made the decision yet, today's the day. Don't waste any more time. Don't waste any more time. You know it's a waste, right? You wouldn't be here if you didn't know. Don't waste any more time. Make today the day that you say, I'm taking over, right? I'm through letting dope run my life. Today, I start running my own life. Today. Draw the line. Make today the day. Between now and tomorrow night, when we all get back together, you have one assignment, just one. Reach out and try to save somebody. I promise you it's worth it. It is so worth it. All right, I am Captain Tommy Scoville. We will see you people tomorrow night. Thought I was going to forget, didn't you? This, right here, this is a cat in a basket. All right, people. Good night. Thanks, Squirrel. Good night, everybody. Squirrel, you're the best.